Hello, everyone. This is Kathy Bacon, and I'm so happy to see you this evening. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope that you listened on Tuesday or Friday, last Friday, when I told you all about my guest. I'm going to try to do that once a week, just so you know who's coming on, just so you know the amazing guests I have, and just so you know that if in fact you wanted to reach out in any way, you could do that through me or through Facebook, or you could PM me about any one of my guests and find out exactly all about them. And you can do that on my page, www.kathybacon.com. I post all my guests there. I post their bios there. I post their information. You can go and find them there if you want more information about them, or maybe you want to connect with them and ask them some questions. That's totally fine. You can do that, and they will, in fact, give you that information during the interview. Now I'm in Portland, Oregon. As you guys know, I travel quite a bit. I've been traveling since I've been back in May, and we've decided to stay in Seattle now for a year. And so now we're kind of looking at places and trying to decide where we're going to go, where we're going to stay. And it's okay. I was raised here most of my life, and I can tell you that the summer's been fantastic. It's been great to connect with my friends that I haven't seen or been able to see every time I come back and visit. So everything's good. Life is really, really good. And life is good for me because I get to do this show. I have the ability to find a way to connect with people that can share their stories. And that's really what it all is all about to me. It's about everyone's story. And some of our stories are good, bad. Some are, maybe they're a different journey than we might have decided to take, but there's no judgment here. And good and bad is only a perception. So to me, everyone's story is worth hearing, and that human connection is what brings us all together. So again, thank you for your emails. Thank you for showing up for me and supporting me, because this is my passion, to hear your story and create human connection to me and to everyone else out there. So again, thank you. And tonight I want to tell you about a friend of mine. She's been a friend of mine, since I've been 15 years old. And we've known each other for a very long time. We've watched each other grow and change and move and come back and all those different things that life brings us. And tonight we're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to her heart and why that's so. But let me tell you a little bit about her first. Rosemary has 3 daughters and 6 grandchildren. She's been married for almost 33 years, and one of her greatest joys is helping out with her grandkids. And she does quite a bit of that, and she very, very much enjoys it. She loves walking, being out in nature. She loves lifting weights at the gym. She also loves to travel and is an avid reader. But one thing that she does regularly is she volunteers at Evergreen Hospice. And if any of you know about hospice, then you understand what that means. And tonight, we'll find out more about her volunteering, about Evergreen Hospice here in Seattle, Washington. And you'll be able to find out everything that you need, and maybe it's something you've been thinking about. Maybe you've been thinking, maybe I need to volunteer at hospice. And tonight you'll be able to connect with her and find out how it's just been part of her life. So without any further ado, I am going to welcome my dear, dear friend and sister, Rosemary. So great to see you. Gosh, it's really, you look so pretty there, right in front of the picture, right at your house, and you look so
Thank you. You do too.
Yeah. So tell us, hospice is not for everyone, Rose. We talked about this before, like some people probably might not be able to do hospice, but why did you want to be a volunteer at hospice?
Well, what really led me to it was I lost my mom very young. I was 21 years old and my mom was only 48 years old, and she got a brain tumor. And so, of course, that took us down a road, me and my four other siblings, a very, we had to grow up very fast from this experience. And it was really hard because my mom was an only child and we just didn't have a lot of support or understanding too much about cancer back then. Right. It was in 1979, or probably started in 1978, that my mom got sick, and there just wasn't a lot known about it. And so I felt like, I think we all kind of felt as that we just could have really used a lot more support. And so down the road, of course, my mom unfortunately passed away. And then down the road, a few years later, in my 30s, I heard about Evergreen Hospice. And it has been around now for 25 years, which is just really wonderful. And it's been since 1991. And it's served more than 28,000 patients and families in the King County and Snohomish County. And so I had heard back then, probably pretty close to when it opened, that they were looking for, well, I think it had been open a little bit, but they were looking for volunteers. And so I went through the volunteer process of taking classes for 3 days, and just really got a lot out of the classes and decided that I really wanted to volunteer.
It's probably,
yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so once a week I did that, and I sat in with patients, and I'm doing things a little bit differently now for Evergreen Hospice than I was doing back then, but still volunteering at hospice, yes.
Yeah. And so it's really funny, isn't it? Maybe not funny, but it's so amazing how our life leads us in these directions that we wouldn't even know. And because of your mother passing away and not having support, I can imagine you, because I know you didn't want anyone else to feel that way. You wanted other people to feel that they had support. So tell us what you do at Evergreen Hospice.
Well, so there is Evergreen Hospice at the center where I'm at, which is in Kirkland, Washington, right above Evergreen Hospital. It has 15 beds in it, 2 wings, and it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. It's been blessed by 7 different religions, which is really kind of special on the grounds. And it's just the most beautiful place if you just get a chance to even go visit it. They have this beautiful chapel that looks out to the grounds, and they've got beautiful family rooms for people to interact with their families when they have a family member in there, that they can relax and visit. And then they've got 2 kitchens where they can help themselves. And it just has such a beautiful feel to it. And what I'm doing now is I'm at the very front desk as a receptionist hospice volunteer. So when somebody comes into the hospice center, I greet them. Nice. And then they sign in on a log. Yeah. And we let them know what room the person that they're coming to see is in. And then we like to walk them down to that room and let them know about the different sitting areas that we have, and the kitchens, and where the bathroom is, and just we really want to make them feel at home. And the nice thing is, if their loved one is staying there, there is an actual there's a sleeping area also for the family members to sleep there if they want to, also in the room of that patient.
Wow. So you really are the first face that they see when they come in, right? I mean, how nice is that, Rose? Because I'm telling you, if I saw your face when I came in, I'd be pretty comfortable and pretty happy. I can tell you this. So I mean, really, I mean, your face and just your warmth and your vibration is so off the charts that to have someone come in on a, you know, with someone that they love is dying.
Yes.
I mean, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So, what have you learned from doing this for others?
Um, well, I feel really fortunate that I can put a smile on my face and kind of comfort somebody at this time, and be okay with it, because it wouldn't be for everybody, but for me, I'm able to do it, and I don't. I'm fortunate. I don't take it home with me. I'm able to serve in a positive way, and then I'm able to let it go. And so
Yeah.
I can be there for that person. I can put a smile on my face. I can be a listener, and yet I really am okay at the end of the day with it. And so I did it many years ago there, and then I did it in Nashville, Tennessee when I lived there after my father died in hospice to help him. I went back to doing it again, and then I also served at a place called Hope Lodge for a year or two in Nashville that I absolutely loved. And then when I moved back here just 3 years ago, I have been back for like a year and a half now, back with Evergreen Hospice, and just I don't plan on leaving for I don't know when, because I love it so much, and I really love the work that the way that we can help people and families.
Yeah. And it looks like, well, Tiffany Duncan is watching. So thank you for watching, Tiffany. I really appreciate you tuning in. It's nice that when people tune in and support What's Your Story Radio. And tonight it's Rose Slavsky, if you're just tuning in now. And she is a volunteer at Evergreen Hospice. And she's telling us a little bit about Evergreen Hospice and how it's sort of fulfilled her life. One thing that I loved what you said, Rose, is that you can actually go there, and the process of death does not scare you. It does not, you don't hold on to it. You can go home and you can let that go. And not everyone can do that. I mean, do you ever feel like compassion fatigue? I mean, tired from all that you give from your hospice work?
I really just don't. It really is my passion, and I think we just all have those things that we can do that, it's just we all have our gifts. And so for some reason, for me, I just honor if somebody passes away, because it happens a lot when I'm volunteering. A lot.
Right.
They're taking loved ones out through the front door, and I stand up and I try to send a positive message to that person going on. And I just feel really happy that I can do that, and I'm able to do that. So
yeah, hats off to you, really. Really, hats off to you. Tell us how hospice helps the families. We know how they kind of help the person that's dying. We sort of kind of understand that, but you can definitely talk more about that. But what does hospice do to help the families?
Well, they're really big on it being it's a full family connection. So everybody extremely matters. And because a lot of people have hospice, instead of coming into the hospice center, the big thing now, I mean, unless you're very, very sick, most people don't come where I'm at, or they come for short periods of time to get extremely comfortable, and then they may get to go home. But a lot of them are at the end of their lives when they do come to Evergreen Hospice, because most people today are in their homes, and then they get treatment where a nurse comes in and visits with them. At least, it just depends where they're at in their process. But usually you can have hospice up to, they like to have people have it up to about 6 months, to the time that they're going to pass. And they just really work with the family with social working, and they've got great bereavement team. And that bereavement team really helps people after they've lost a family member. They've got people that do bereavement volunteering that call and check up on the family members. And then up to a year later, they will still call you. And a lot of people, even after a year later decide, I want to have some bereavement time. And you can do that a couple times a month with a couple of our bereavement people, and they're just absolutely wonderful. And there's also a 6-month or 6-week bereavement series you can take.
Right.
And I've done it before. I went through the series years ago, and I didn't realize how much it helped me in my life with some people that I had lost in situations. And so it's just wonderful what they do offer. And
right.
Yeah, you all feel like a part of a family with hospice.
That's so awesome. And it's just, they're really lucky to have you as a volunteer. So if anyone is out there watching right now and said, you know what, I kind of feel like Rose does, and something's happened in my life that's similar, how does someone become a volunteer, Rose?
Well, they can call this phone number, which is 425-899-1040. And that is the hospice phone number at the Evergreen Hospice. And it serves, like I said, all of King County and Snohomish County.
Okay.
And they go through, they can find out about going through and taking. You do have to take, it's like, I think it's a full 3-day course type of thing that you take these classes and you learn an awful lot of wonderful information. And then you can kind of make a decision whether you want to go into people's homes and help, or if you want to be at the hospice center like me, or you can even go into a lot of retirement places or assisted living places also have hospice there for people. And you can even go to the assisted living place and work with some people and check on them every week. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it.
There is. Wow, I didn't realize that. There is a lot of different ways that might work for different people. Maybe some people want to go to the home, like you go to the center. So there's a lot of different options. And if you call this number and maybe check in and do the classes, you'll find out more information about Evergreen Hospice. I'm so glad Evergreen Hospice is there.
And of course, different they are all over, and all the 50 states have different types of hospice.
Right.
And I think it's very nice too that a lot of men volunteer, not just women. There's a lot of men that volunteer, and I think that's super great to have a mixture of both.
Right. Because I mean, families, it's not just about women. I mean, men have feelings too, and I'm sure they love to share that as well as we do. So get involved if that's something that you're interested in. I mean, and everybody has a reason why they want to do hospice, and I love your reason. And I wish that there would have been more for your mom during that time when she was going through that. It would have helped your family so much, it sounds like, for all that hospice does. So, how do you cope when someone dies?
I just kind of like say a prayer for them and their family, and that's just what I do. And I just kind of have my own way of through prayer and that I believe that works for me to kind of believe in my own heart that it's time for them to go on and my own beliefs, I'm comfortable with that. And so I know it's not for everybody, but for me, it makes me be able to do this volunteer work.
Right. And our friend Tanis, who is a dear friend of ours, she sent me some questions too as well. And so let's do one of her questions. And it says, do you feel any trauma associated with the process of death and dying?
Well, if it's when it's my own, somebody I know close to my heart in my own family or something like that, of course it is a bit more difficult, and I definitely, grief affects, each situation is different and it affects you in a different way. But I just, yeah, I definitely have to take care of myself. I do a lot of self work with exercise, as you were saying that I like to do. Um, Walking and getting out in nature, I think, is really important to take care of yourself. Um, and just trying to have a really positive outlook on life, and just kind of know there's just a beautiful connection out there with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful. So, what do you love most about volunteering here?
Well, I've always had it in my heart. And I mean, I started this really young in my early 30s when I was busy raising 3 kids and stuff. But something inside of me always said, I think it's important to give service. I think it's important to give back no matter what it is. It could be just any type of thing that you love to do. To give service a little bit just feels really good to me. Like,
Right.
I want to feel at the end of the day like, I mean, I'm making a difference, but also, I don't ever feel like it's taxing, or I don't want to go or something like that. It's like something I think it needs to be whatever you choose it to be, something
Right.
that you're excited about, that you feel really good about, you know, giving and doing for whatever you pick to do for volunteer work.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true. It's like many of us that know each other always we feel like service is very important, and a lot of people in our generation, are out there doing many great things to help others. It's just, I think it's really in our makeup. I mean, we did it when we were younger, and we do it now, and it's just so great to see still the people that I know giving back and giving service to others, and especially like this, Rose. I mean, hospice is a big deal. It's a big deal. Okay. And not many people, like I said before, can do this work. And your belief is such that it almost isn't a sad thing. It's that you inside make it a happy thing for yourself, and you send them on their way in such a positive and enlightening moment that, I mean, I don't know how it could get any better than that. I just don't.
Well, thank you, Kathy. I think you have a pretty good understanding on, you know, on that, all that with thinking that way. And it just, yeah, I guess I'm just fortunate I'm able to do the work and love it. And they certainly do need people that can do that. And so I'm just glad I can, because, those families need people they can count on. And I think the most beautiful thing about hospice is if you go around to everybody's family nowadays, everybody has a story about it and how it affected their lives. I only hear the most beautiful stories about hospice. Like, oh my gosh, they were so good to my family member. Like, they just did so much for them to make them feel at peace and at home. And we all felt so wonderful. And we all felt really included. Yes, it's a very sad time, but when they walk away from it and they get time to think about it, they can't say enough loving, wonderful things about hospice. And even at the place that I'm at Evergreen Hospice Center in Kirkland, people come back and they just thank us all the time. They stop by and they just say, I just wanted to stop in again and say, this was just such a beautiful, you guys made it so wonderful. And we just can't thank you enough for being a good support for us.
And so, what does Evergreen Hospice do to make a difference? What do they do with the families that maybe is different than other hospice, or just something that, like you're talking about, they come back and thank you? What are they thanking Evergreen Hospice for?
I think I think just because everybody that works there, not only just volunteers there, but also works there, they just
Right.
have a really great team of people that all pull together. It's just everybody there, to the janitor there, to the us that volunteer, to the bereavement staff, to the women in the office that put all this together, to all the nurses there, to
Right.
the doctors there, like the chaplains that come in. I don't know, they're just all really it's just a wonderful group of people to be around and to be a part of. And I'm very honored to say that I am.
Wow. I mean, that's great that they go that extra mile for the families. And like you said, families don't forget that, especially when their loved one's dying. They don't forget who was kind to them. They don't forget what Evergreen Hospice did for them. They're going to always remember that little bit of kindness, that little bit of extra loving care that they got from Evergreen Hospice. And again, Evergreen Hospice is in Kirkland, and this is where Rosemary volunteers once a week. She has made it her passion to go into Evergreen Hospice and give back in any way that she can, but her heart is very open. And I bet sometimes people volunteer and they may not really know what they're getting into. So for you, you kind of knew, and it led, your sort of your journey led you there. But if I was a new volunteer and I came in and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. This is going to be great. But then I found like, oh my, someone just died. How does Evergreen Hospice help the volunteers to cope?
Well, they do have a lot of self-help, which is wonderful. Like they do set up where you can come in and do yoga once a week.
Oh, nice.
for self-care.
Right.
And that's really beautiful because you do it in the sanctuary. Awesome. And you have this beautiful setting. And then, so that's offered to us that volunteer. Plus they do some, they give us, where if we want to sign up, we can do some Reiki.
Oh, nice.
And they do that. And they've even done some little bits of some classes on meditation, which is so important. And they do a lot of special things for us volunteers. They always are constantly having get-togethers. If you need to go, they have it available. They're always setting up things on the outside if you want to go or you need support. And there's always people to talk to, whether you're at the center where I'm at or whether you're going into people's homes once a week. And usually our shifts are 4 hours.
Okay.
So yes, they're all throughout the day, day and night. We are open at the hospice center 24 hours, but we just volunteer till 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock at night, so the latest that somebody volunteers.
Got it. Yeah. Wow.
Or at 9 o'clock in the morning.
They support. It sounds like. I mean, this is, like I said, a touchy thing for some people. So they really support from the ground up, the volunteers all the way to the people in hospice and their families and everything. And so, I mean, wow, it's all encompassing for everyone.
Yeah.
What is the best thing about hospice for you?
I just think for me, or for family members, or for me, it's knowing that through hospice, somebody gets to pass away comfortably. Like they get to have all the medication they possibly would need. They're not going to be uncomfortable at all in any situation. They're going to just totally be taken care of. That's the big main goal of hospice is how can we make you comfortable? We don't want you feeling any pain whatsoever. So the medication that you need, as much as you need, is going to be available for you and to you, So they make sure if you need a nurse, if you're really in a lot of pain, really all through the night, whatever it is, somebody could call and they will get somebody to you to make you comfortable.
Right.
Once you make a decision to be with hospice, it's no longer about saving a life. And that's something you have to kind of know that once you're with hospice, it's really, you've made that choice that, or an understanding that you're going to be, passing on pretty much. I mean, I'm sure there definitely has been situations. I'm sure that, somebody far surpassed what was thought of and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And if there's a worse thing, what would This is from Tanis now. Thank you again, Tanis, for the questions. She wanted to pose some questions. I love that when our friends or anyone out there wants to ask some questions, please do. This is the time to do it. And I'm so happy to relay them to the guest. Another thing that she wanted to know is like, what is the worst thing about hospice work? Is there a worst thing? I don't hear that from you at all, but maybe there is something that gets to you a little bit. Or
I think that definitely, especially if you, for me, I'm not, take people down and, put them with their family member, and I'm there a lot for support. I think if you are constantly with a patient and working out of the house with people, and that could go on for 6 months, you're definitely going to build up an attachment. I mean,
Right.
and I think under those circumstances, and I did have more of that through the years when I was doing that more in doing that type of hospice work. You are going to get attached to people, and it is a little bit harder to let go. And you're certainly going to miss some people, because there's some really wonderful people that do absolutely touch your life, in so many ways.
And can you share, do you have any stories that you'd like to tell? You don't have to use their names if you don't want to, but do you have any stories that touched you in a way that you walked out of there and went, wow, this is why I do what I do?
I just, for the most part, think I really amazed at how many beautiful families just hold together, where all the family members come, and they really use the family rooms that we have, and they all get to have that time together and just really spend time with their loved one. And they just, and then if somebody does pass, they can take as much time as they want to be in that room with that person that's passed on. It's not something that the person doesn't have to be taken away right away. Sometimes we have people there for, it can be a few hours before they are taken away. So we make sure that people really get to have that time and bond and say goodbye and do what they need to do, to feel that. So that's just a really beautiful thing to me.
Yeah, it is, because there's just so many rituals that we go through in our life, and death and dying is a ritual for family members that are there. And Shannon, thank you for coming on and watching your mom this evening. I bet you're very proud of her for doing what she does. And because this, like I said before, this is something that not everyone can do. We all find our passion in volunteering, and this has been yours. And it's truly an amazing thing that you do.
Thank you.
I just, I'm honored to know you. This I do know. I mean, I'd want you at my bedside. That's for darn sure. With that smiling face of yours. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about Evergreen Hospice that maybe if somebody was watching and they maybe
I think I'd like them to know that there definitely is a bereavement side of that help for people, which I really love that, because I really think when somebody loses somebody that's in their family, and it's just not easy ever, of course. And to know, it could be a month or 2 or 3 months down the road, and you're just going, I'm still really having a hard time. I mean, I am really grieving here. And this is just way tougher than I could have ever imagined. Well, for one, we do have a really nice library at the Evergreen Hospice Center. When you first walk in, there is a whole family room area, and we've got just the best books that people can check out. And we've got them on every subject about loss. If you've lost a child, even if you've lost a teenager, or if a teenager or a child has lost a mother or a father. So I think having that wonderful library is a real gift. And the other thing is the bereavement people, are really special people, and they really do give their time to you. If you need them and you call them, and they make an appointment and they meet up with you, and they really take their time to make sure that you're going to be okay and on your way. And I just think those things are so important, for people that are grieving and going through that, to know, I just would love to see more people use the support, because it's out there, and you will feel better and heal so much better if you take advantage of some of the support that's out there.
Right. Yeah, I think sometimes we think we're alone, and we're really not alone in any situation if we just put our self out there and look for help, because it's always there, right? I mean,
Mhm.
and hospice is, I mean, it's like the best thing that could happen to someone on their journey to the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I believe that, life is just, or death is just an extension of their life, and we
Mhm.
don't die. And that's just our belief. It's not that it has to be anyone else's
Yes.
belief.
Yes.
But the thing about it is, I can see how working there and volunteering there would be a whole different thing for you because of that thinking,
Yes.
that it isn't the end. It's really just another part of our beginnings.
Yeah.
And so, and Sue Hop says, "Good job, Rose." And
Sweet.
Beth says, "You are an angel, Rose."
Oh,
And
that's so nice.
and your daughter said, "Yes, she is so proud of you." So,
Oh, that's so sweet.
so you
Anyhow,
have,
I
yeah,
I just enjoy doing it, and I feel like I can make a difference there. That's where my passion is and my gifts
right,
are. So I'm just more, I get so much back from it that I
right.
guess the rewards to me, I give it out, but I get it back just as much or more so. So
Yeah.
it's just an honor, and I really love doing it.
Yeah, I know. I can see it. I
I
can
hope
see
to
it.
even probably do more as, my grandkids get older and things like that. And,
Right.
I may do a few more things with it too. So we'll
Yeah.
just see how it all falls into place. But for now, this is great, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, that's nice because, like you said, you can, as time goes on and your time gets freed up more and more, then you can decide what you want to do with hospice and how you want to do more or get into other avenues of hospice.
Mhm.
Tell us where this hospice is again. It's Evergreen Hospice, and it's in
Yeah,
Kirkland,
it's in Kirkland,
right?
Washington, right above. It's actually kind of right behind Evergreen Hospital. It sits,
Right.
and it's just a beautiful. It's just very has just such a beautiful feel to it. There's beautiful gardens on the grounds.
Right.
There's a beautiful play area for children.
Nice.
The grounds are just gorgeous. It's just really, really a special place, even if you go and just walk the grounds to take a look at it. There's an outdoor patio for people to sit, and there's benches, and it's just really very lovely.
Right, right. And you did this not only in Seattle, but did you say that you did it in Nashville as well?
Yes,
Yes.
I
Okay.
did it in Nashville, and at a facility in downtown Nashville,
Okay.
and have a hospice facility there.
Got it.
And then I also in Nashville worked at a place, volunteered, not worked, at a place called Hope Lodge, which is very dear to my heart. And it is a place where people go that have cancer, and they get to stay in like a hotel setting.
Right.
And there's a lot of hospitals and things around it. And so they get to stay up to 6 months and get treatment. And it's just a very special place. So I volunteered there and absolutely loved it. And I could still be there today if I wouldn't have left Nashville, but I'm back here, and I'm so happy to be back at Evergreen Hospice. But Hope Lodge was a very special place also, working with cancer patients that need help and love, and they could stay there for long periods of time and, get their treatments. And, most of them still had a lot of hope, and they had a lot of lot of them walked away and went on with their lives. They weren't at the very end yet. Some were, some weren't. So it was a different type thing, but it was all great.
Yeah.
So I've always loved, continuing on doing this kind of work. And so it's just all interesting. And
yeah, it's been very fulfilling for you. I know it has. And like you said, there was something that you could do in Nashville. Now there's Evergreen Hospice here in Seattle. And if anybody is out there thinking, wow, this sounds like something I could do, then I would assume, Rose, right, that there's probably one in every area.
there is. I mean, there is in Everett, in Seattle. I'm sure they're all over the place. Most all states and different areas.
Yeah.
They're all over the place, and they all are a bit different.
Yeah. If someone saw this tonight and said, I really want to talk to Rose a little bit more about that, is that a possibility, Rose, or should they just call Evergreen Hospice and talk to them personally, or would you be willing to talk to someone maybe by PMing you on Facebook or something like that?
Sure. I would be, yeah, I'd be happy to if they have some questions.
Good.
Absolutely, more than happy to. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I've had such a great evening with you tonight, learning about hospice, and I mean, I think, if I might say, I think your mother would be so proud of you right now because
that's so
because what she didn't have and what you wish she would have had, you are now doing for others. And I, for one, as your friend, am very proud of you for all that you do to make a difference in people's lives, because that has never been a secondary thing to you. And I know this about you. So I really, really want to thank you for coming on tonight and talking about something so hard for some people to talk about. But to you, it's given you so much joy and love and care. And again, there are people like you that could reach out and do the same thing and get as much joy as you do. And again, Rose said that, in fact, you can find her on Facebook. And if you want to ask her a question on there, she will get to you because she's got she can answer any question. And again, tell us the phone number for Evergreen Hospice.
Yes, so it's 425.
Okay.
You're going to have it written. Oh, yes, 899
Okay.
1040. And if you call there, they'll definitely put you with somebody to talk to about volunteering. And also, I believe you could just probably go on to, I don't know if I have to their website too, which I'm sure.
I think we can just Google
Evergreen Hospice Center,
and
find it that way too.
That'll be very easy because
there's a calendar of when they start doing the hospice volunteer classes and things like that. So
great.
Yeah,
it's so awesome. It was just really great to hear all about it. I know you've been doing it, but I've never heard about it in depth. So this was a great What's Your Story show this evening to learn about hospice. And one thing that happens on the show so much is that something happens in people's lives, like your mother passing and her not having something like this. And you turn around and in your life, you make sure that doesn't happen to someone else. And I bet
you do see that a lot doing your radio show, which is a very beautiful thing. And I think that's one of the most beautiful gifts we can give is an experience that we have, and as tough as it might be, that we can make somebody else's journey a little bit easier, and yet it ends up unfolding in such a beautiful way for, the giver and the receiver. And so what you're doing is a very beautiful thing too, and I love it very much. So I'm really thankful and grateful that, I got to be on your show and to share my story, and I hope it has touched some people to think about possibly volunteering at hospice.
Well, we have all of our friends are watching right now. I see Crystal Burnett has joined, and Laureen has joined, a friend of mine from Colorado, and they are all sending hearts across the screen. So thank you so much, Rose. I really appreciate your time tonight, and I appreciate all of you tuning in and listening about hospice, Evergreen Hospice, right here in Kirkland, Washington, where I'm at. I'm in staying in Washington State. I'm in Portland right now, but like Rose said, because hospice is such a great thing for families and people ready to pass on, there are hospices in every city and state probably. And
Yes.
if you need,
Oh,
if
yes.
you want to find one, you can, because that's where people want to be. I mean, that's where we want to be. We want to be sent off in a lovingly kind way if we can, with our family, and great people to take care of us along the way, and volunteers like you. So again, thank you all so much for joining What's Your Story Radio. I appreciate you taking the time out this evening to listen to my guest, Rosemary, a dear, dear friend of mine who I always, always am so amazed and so happy to hear parts and pieces of her story. Even after knowing each other for 15 years, we still have stories to tell.
True.
Believe me. So
Thank you so much.
again. And you can find this information out about Rose on my website at www.kathybacon.com. You can go there. I'll have her little bio there. I'll put her little Facebook link so you can PM message her if you have any questions about hospice. And I'll look up Evergreen Hospice and get the website on there too for you, Rose. I'll put that on there.
I know I have it here somewhere.
I know you did, because I think you said it earlier.
Yes.
So, yeah. So again, thank you so much, everyone. And I'll see you next week. So goodbye and thank you.